Hey everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's the first uncensored match build-up of the season. I'm Steve Hood, joined by Lewis and by Andy, and we're going to preview the Community Shield. Liverpool, Crystal Palace, 3 o'clock on Sunday at Wembley. Kind of an official, not an official game. It's kind of in between. It's not a friendly. It's not quite the Bournemouth game either. But yeah, we're going to have a little look ahead to the game. Guys, thanks very much for coming in. Very much appreciated. Yeah, I'm back. Been on my holidays. I'm back. You know that meme when the fella walks into pizza on fire? Yeah. It isn't quite that, but we're all sad. No, I'm only joking. The guys here have been great. Obviously, I'm sure you've all enjoyed Chloe and Dan's coverage from Japan as well. But yeah, we're all back here in the studio. Well, some of us are anyway, to crack on, getting used to the Reds getting back into full swing. Yes. Before we start, guys, very, very quickly, want to speak to you in particular, just you watching this right now. Our sponsors for the season are oosh.co.uk. We've already given away 2 tickets to the Community Shield final with Oosh, which is unbelievable, and a hotel and spending money as well. That's a great prize, but there is an even better prize up for grabs. I'm going to hand over to Paul to explain. So yeah, check this out.
How would you like to win an Audi RS6 for free? Well, our friends at oosh.co.uk are giving away this very one for nothing. All you've got to do is head to oosh.co.uk, grab yourself a ticket, and you are in the draw. Oosh!
Yeah, if you want to win a brand new car, which is ridiculous, there is a link in the description of the show, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening as a podcast. Go and enter. It's completely free. And after Liverpool play Bournemouth on August 15th, someone somewhere is going to win a brand new Audi or 50 grand in cash. And it's completely free to enter. So go and check it out. Yeah, get yourself in the hat. Why not? You might as well. You get yourself a brand new car. Look boss on that video. But also, there's cash there to win as well. So go and get yourselves involved. And thanks to Oosh for sponsoring us this season. Right then, guys, let's get into it. I always start these by looking at the opposition and where they're up to and how it's going. It's different for Crystal Palace, Lewis. I'll start with you. They haven't really done much in terms of signings. They signed a left back and a backup goalkeeper, basically. I don't think either are designed to really break into their first team. Yeah. The bigger story of their summer has been, can they keep their players? So far, they've managed to keep hold of Eze and Mateta. There's still rumours about both, in particular Eze. Eddie Nketiah is injured, which is a blow for them, of course. So it's kind of status quo with Crystal Palace, but what it's worth mentioning, status quo for Crystal Palace, won them the FA Cup. You know, we find it really difficult to beat them in most games we played against them recently under Glasner. It's been really difficult for Liverpool. I know last season was a bit different. It was a glorified praise for the title, but they have not been the easiest of opposition for us to get the better of. And they showed in that cup final at Wembley that they can do a job on big teams like they did to City.
They've got match winners, man. Like you said, it was so important for them not to come into this summer window and recruit, but just to keep hold of their assets, because the past few years they've been picked apart. They've lost Zaha, Elise left. Like, continuously Palace build up these big players and then they get taken away. But there's individual match winners there, like I said, like Eze, like Ismaila Sarr, Mateta. Munoz is one of the freaks of the Premier League last season. He's such a danger going forward. And I was talking to someone last night and he said the big issue for Palace isn't so much who they've got in the team star-wise, it is just purely depth. Like if Gahey or Lacroix go out, there's a severe lack of depth. If there's no Eze in that team, they lack so much attacking threat. So while they'll start off this match with intensity, and I do think they're going to really go for it and really try and get the atmosphere going, build at us as quick as they can, it's later on in the match where I think they're going to start to fade when they lack the options to bring off the bench who can come on and impact it. And that's something where we have a massive benefit given the depth we've got.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did mention Gay, absolutely transfer related as well. See Liverpool heavily linked with them and Newcastle as well, which means he's going to go to Liverpool if Newcastle summers any to by. Andy, the interesting thing with Palace is they're in court today. Steve Parish, they've gone to CAS. They're trying to get their place back in the Europa League. At time recording, obviously, the hearing's literally happening now, so we don't know how that's going to go, how long it's going to take. It'd be interesting, like, where their focus is, kind of thing. Like, that's a massive deal for Crystal Palace. Listen, worst case is they're in the Conference League, and I think that's still good. They'd have took that. If they've offered them that last summer, you're going to be in the Europa Conference League next year, they'd probably bit your hand off. But they earned a place in the Europa League on the pitch anyway. It's kind of off behind the scenes, multi-club ownership. Does the fella own the club anymore, doesn't he? I wonder how that plays into this. Like, with the Crystal Palace fans today, rather than focusing probably on Sunday, are all going to be focusing on this court case.
They will be, and I really do feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for the fans and I feel sorry for the players. That FA Cup win was fantastic. It was historic. It was the first major trophy they'd ever won as a club. I remember watching it the day. It was a lovely warm day. The atmosphere was amazing. And obviously the main prize for that is the trophy. Don't get me wrong, you don't want to win the cup to get into Europe. You want to win the cup for the trophy and for the day out itself. But it is a nice benefit both for the fans and especially financially, because even though being in the Conference League is better than nothing, you still get plenty of match day revenue, etc., some prize money. Being in the Europa League is a significantly higher financial benefit to Crystal Palace, and I'd say that will be more of a concern for the backroom staff and the people behind the scenes, sorting out the sort of financial stuff at Crystal Palace. But there's no doubt that the fans and the players will be checking their phones, waiting for the email to see whether they're in the Europa League or the Conference League. So yeah, I do think that it will have some impact, although I don't think it's too hard as Oliver Glasner as the manager to just say, listen, that's going on, we can't control that, we're focusing on Sunday. And I think they'll give us a game.
We talk about lack of transfers for them, and that's probably part of it as well. They don't know what competition they're going to be in. What's your budget? Your budget's probably, and also you're trying to recruit players. It might be, listen, Europa League football is easier, than playing Conference League football, like all these things. Is it easier to keep hold of a player if you're offering the Europa League? I don't know, but yeah, the fact that again, check me out, August 8th, their season officially begins this weekend. The Premier League begins next weekend, and they don't know what competition they're going to be playing in already. It isn't fair, really, on Crystal Palace. I understand the rules are rules, and there'll be Nottingham Forest fans going, well, you broke them, we're benefiting from it. But yeah, it's been a very messy situation. Again, football in courtrooms is just a bit...
Yeah, it's too much of it nowadays. I'm bored of it, man. But I perfectly sympathise with them, like you said. I think they've earned the right to be in that competition. And like you said before we started, it's not just the matchday revenue. It's not just the competition. It's the teams you play. Like you can get some massive teams playing in the Europa League. Bayer Leverkusen were not long ago in their unbeaten season. So yeah, it's a shame for them. Do I think that their mind's going to be cast on it? Partially, I think there will be. And like you said, it's going to have had an impact on incomings. But I think because they don't know what competition they're in, I think that's also the positive impact in terms of the outgoings. There might be players who are saying, right, we'll stick this out and see what happens. If we end up in Europa League, we're happy to stay. If we don't, then we'll assess our options. So maybe this has been something that's dragged out, keeping Eze at the club when Arsenal and Tottenham have wanted them. Maybe this has kept Gahey at the club when they don't know what's happening. So you can see it from both sides, but I do feel sorry for Palace fans. I think they've more than earned the right to be in that competition after winning that cup last season. And
going back to the game on Sunday, though, Andy, you mentioned before, they're going to give us a game. They give everyone a game, really. Glasner's done a really good job. He makes them difficult to beat. But the thing when you're difficult to beat is you have to have someone who can score a goal or be a match winner. And in Mateta and Eze in particular, they've got two of them.
Yeah.
I remember it didn't start particularly well for Oliver Glasner at Palace. I'm not sure whether they lost 6 or 7 games in a row, but I think they certainly didn't win in the first few games they played, and they started to pick up performances slightly just before they played us and beat us 1-0 at Anfield. And I think that might have been his first win as Palace manager. And I just sort of saw that coming a little bit. I remember we were a bit leggy and they were starting to look good. And then from there on in, they were fantastic for the rest of the season. Again, didn't start last season off particularly well, but ended up obviously very strongly winning the cup. And in their last 8 games of the season, including that cup final day, they were unbeaten, and that includes obviously a draw at Anfield. It includes a draw at Arsenal, where they nearly won us the league. And I really enjoyed the last day of the season with the 2 guards of honour, us singing champions for us and then for them. And I just think they're a fantastic fan base and never have any issues with them when they come down. So I'm really looking forward to Sunday. But in terms of the team that they have, absolutely, they've got quality all over the pitch. You're right to mention Munoz. I think he's a little bit of a system player. Very much benefits from that role, but it is a system they play and it suits him down to the ground. I don't think if he was a sort of an out-and-out fullback, it would necessarily work for him, but he's a massive attacking threat. The 2 centre halves are really strong. Dean Henderson's been having a good season, and up front they've got Eze and Mateta, who obviously for a while this summer we were linked with, and I would have been slightly underwhelmed if that was our striker signing, but he's still an above average Premier League player, and he's certainly good enough for them to take them through Europe and through the season. So yeah, we're going to have to be on top of our game here because they have got the quality to create chances and score goals.
Absolutely, yeah. I always think solid at the back and then pace on the break. That's exactly what they did all the time.
Yeah.
Every time they beat anyone, they did that to City. They did that at Anfield again. To Liverpool, and again we drew that game 1-1 the last game of the season, which was great, but they really could have been 2 or 3 up. There was a very narrow offside. There was a 1-on-1 before they scored and around it. So there's definitely got good players in their team. Let's move on to Liverpool then. Again, there's a fine balance between winning the game and a friendly. The difference is, of course, you can't change your whole team.
Yeah.
That's the main difference. There's no like 11 subs at half time. There's no 2 games in the same night like they had on Monday. The manager got decisions to make. There's going to be a lot of lads there, Lewis, who are going to play 90 minutes at least. He's only allowed to make us 5 subs, isn't he? I think so. He's got that to put into consideration ahead of the Bournemouth game. Team news-wise, what we know so far is there's no Joe Gomez. Alexis McAllister is available, but isn't ready to play 90 minutes. Virgil's back, Alisson's back. Conor Bradley's iffy. They don't quite know where we're at with Conor Bradley yet. Not quite sure where we're at with him. So with that in mind, it'll be interesting if Arne Slot does the thing where he just picks what his 11 that he thinks are going to play against Bournemouth, or is he still managing some people's minutes? You never quite know in the Charity Shield exactly where everybody's at.
Yeah, it's a strange one because it's a competitive friendly, so to speak. You don't know, like, is he going to really go all guns blazing? Is he not? I think we'll see 1 or 2 rotation. I do think we'll see a couple of players. Like, I think Mamadashvili is probably going to start. Okay. I don't think Alisson will get the nod for that one. So he'll probably come in. You might get a game time from Rio Ngamoa. There's no way of knowing, really, because it depends how seriously he values this competition. The way he was talking today did seem like he wanted to put his best out. The way he was talking about fitness and like, it just seems to me like he does treat this with the respect that I think it deserves. But I think we'll see a lot of players coming off earlier, kind of thing. I think we'll see like 60th minute, maybe earlier substitutions just to get some rotation and get some last minute minutes for everyone who, let's face it, like Rio Ngamoa as an example, he's not going to get as many minutes next season. I think people think he will. So this is a good opportunity for him on a big stage, Wembley, Crystal Palace, Community Shield, get him some minutes before we go into the season, and maybe he does have a couple of games where he doesn't get game time until the Champions League maybe, or the cup competitions. So yeah, I think there's going to be a few changes.
I was looking on Wikipedia, should have clarified this. It said Community Shield, you're allowed 6 subs. And there's a penalty at 90 minutes. There's no extra time, which is a good thing. So yeah, it's not that much different really. It's not like you can make wholesale changes. Let's talk team news then. I think Alisson will play. Actually, I don't see if he needs the game. He hasn't actually featured that much in the pre-season.
He's definitely back and available. Yeah,
he's back in training. And said today he's around. It was a family issue, I think. Yeah. By all accounts, why he left the tour, I think it was one of his family members was unwell or something like that. I've gone too much into it. So I think he needs the game, to be honest with you, Andy, because he's featured in half maybe or so of football. He probably could do with a run.
That's right. Yeah. He came back to pre-season a little bit late, didn't he? Mamadashvili had the first few games, certainly at that Preston game. And we've seen
Freddie Woodman,
possibly a bit more Freddie Woodman than what we thought we might.
We saw Pexy at one point as well.
Yes, we did. It was in the last game. He comes on for half, doesn't he? So yeah, I think for this one, it's your ideal, your last. I mean, if this was a friendly that we were playing before the first game of the season, you'd imagine it would be 60 minutes in the legs of the first team, and then some changes after that. So that's what I'd imagine it will be. With Conor Bradley, depending on where he is with his fitness, I think he would start the game if it was all things equal. But if it's a case of let's not risk him, I think more than happy for Frimpong to come in for that. I think Kerkez definitely plays. Van Dijk back alongside Konate. I think the only interesting ones in midfield, because I think the front four will be what started against Athletic Bilbao in the second game. You've got McAllister there. He's been injured for quite a long period of time over the summer on the quiet, because he actually misses the last 3 or 4 games, and he's still missing for a couple of games into pre-season. So that's a longer term injury than what we maybe think. He's obviously still getting his fitness back to an extent, but Gravenberg's suspended for that first game of the season. So McAllister's going to have to play that one. So it's a case of, do you play McAllister and Szoboszlai and get them used to that? Obviously, slightly new position for Szoboszlai, and therefore that's going to affect McAllister's role. So do you want a game where you get a bit of practice in that? Or do you say Gravenberg's not going to play for 2 weeks, so he needs his 90 minutes now? I think that's the only real interesting one for me, and I think that the rest of the team probably picks itself.
There's probably a case, Lou, on the McAllister thing, just 45 each with Gravenberg. You need Gravenberg to get it's part of his game as well. He needs to play, but also you do have to have an eye on Bournemouth, where he's suspended ironically for getting sent off against Crystal Palace. So it might be that you do 4. That's one you sub. That's one you've got 6 subs. You pre-plan 45 minutes each between McAllister and Gravenberg, perhaps, because like I say, Alexis isn't fit to do 90, but he's probably going to have to do a big role against Bournemouth. You want him to be ready to do 90 if you can by then. So you've got to get some more minutes. He played in the first Bilbao game, didn't he?
Bilbao,
and,
the first
and a
match.
Half, wasn't he? He hasn't had that much. Again, he's another one who hasn't played too much.
I think he got a bit against Yokohama, did he?
A little bit. Featured later on against Yokohama. He's hardly kicked the ball, really. And like I say, the idea is to get him ready for Bournemouth, because he is going to have to play there, you think?
Yeah, I'm curious about which of the two would start, because if it's a case of McAllister needs the minutes, do you start him off in the match and then take him off handy, let him get the extra rest, or say you start Gravenberch, say Palace take the lead, touch what they don't like, but you're then chasing the match. Is it best to put McAllister into that position where he's going to have to expend more energy? He's probably going to have to press a bit more. I do think he will be rotated sooner rather than later in the match. But Szoboszlai as well, as much as he's a forward attacking player, he was quite deep at points in that Bilbao match.
I think that's what he plays now.
Yeah,
I think he's very... Florian Wirtz means Szoboszlai's deeper. And by the way, I think it shoots him down to the ground.
Yeah, 100%. He was playing right back at some point, so I think he's another option. Whether McAllister's going to play a lot of minutes, I don't know, but there is options there, and I think Szoboszlai is probably going to play in that role a lot more in this match than I'd expect McAllister to be honest.
The one I suppose, sorry, we haven't mentioned, I didn't mention him either, is Curtis Jones, who's had a good pre-season. He's had a strong pre-season. Whether Arne Slot sees him as someone who can play in that 2 in midfield, or whether he sees him as more as a bit of a foil for Wirtz when you maybe need to give Wirtz some time off, I'm not entirely sure, but depending on where they see McAllister's fitness at, and depending on where McAllister's at sort of generally post-injury, Curtis Jones might be the safer bet the first game of the season as well. So it might be a case of Jones gets 60 minutes in his legs.
Possibly,
and, Curtis never let us down last season. I'm sure he wouldn't on Sunday either.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely in play. We'll try and name team. I'm guessing we all agree the front four is going to be Gakpo and Salah either side of Ekitike, Wirtz and behind.
Yeah.
Like, that. I love Rio and Gamoa, and I think he should get on the pitch, and he probably will get on the pitch. It feels very much like, given all the noise around the transfers now, Liverpool, obviously we know them are still around for Alexander Isak. It feels like they're going to use Gamoa as a genuine first team option now, Lewis, and he's probably earned that. So again, you might see the start of that again on Sunday, another go for him. He's 17 now, I think he's recently turned. Saying. You're good enough, you're old enough kind of thing. He won't start, but there's a very good chance we see a lot of him this season. Starting this weekend, I'm sure he'll get on the pitch at some point.
There were reports last night saying that we're debating even signing a left winger because we don't want to hamper his first team build-up, like his development. Look, like you said, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And people keep making the comparisons to when Michael Owen broke through. It's an entirely... Owen had to shoulder the responsibility because Fowler was injured. And then they brought in Heskey behind him, Karl-Heinz Riedel. Gamoa's got Cody Gakpo there. You've got Wirtz who can drift out wide. Ekitike, if Isak comes in, could maybe drift out every now and then. There's options and rotation for him. So he's going to have his minutes managed. I just want to see a lot of him. If people don't want him to play, tell him stop being so good. It's just, he's such an electric, he's a breath of fresh air. And in those pre-season matches, he was making the other wingers around him, against Yokohama and Preston. He made them look average. He's a real talent, and I really do hope that he gets the opportunity. Because it's all well and good us saying in pre-season he was great, but realistically, we're the only people that are going to watch that. I want him on the Community Shield at Wembley on a massive stage against a big team to really show everyone what he's capable of, to show the Palace fans and the rival fans what it is that he can do on
I've aged him, by the way. I do apologise. He's still 16. I thought it was the 6th of August. He turned 17 on the 26th of August, so we've still got a few more days before he's turned 17.
He's signing autographs out the back of a taxi, isn't he? Because
can't drive. He's getting deltas into the training ground still. It's unbelievable, the rise of him, and I'm sure we will get to see him. Yeah. Centre-back's the one that you're talking about here. You've got to speak about that, Andy, because again, you're looking forward to that start of the season. As it stands, Gomez is close to being back, but he's not ready yet. We sold Gerald Kwanzaa. We've got 2 first-team centre-backs, and then it looks like Wataru Endo at this moment in time is an option. Again, it is worth mentioning, I think Endo has still played more games as centre-back than centre-midfield in his career, so he is a centre-back. It's just it hasn't been one for Liverpool. The guy they want might be playing on the other end of the pitch, and I wonder if that's a part of it as well. But the manager's got to be really careful at centre-back, because options are limited. I thought when they sold Kwanzaa, they'd have one in by now. They haven't.
Yeah.
He's got to get Van Dijk and Konate ready, but oh my God, you've got to also wrap the pair of them in cotton wool, because there's nobody left at this moment in time. It's a dicey situation. We're in that centre-back at this moment. The manager speaking to his press conference saying we've got lads who can play there, but you've got lads who can play centre-back, but you haven't got centre-backs.
Yeah, and I think that's partially down to the transfer strategy which we've adopted this year.
By all the forwards.
By everyone. Just
by loads of fast talents.
But there's not even really been that strong, links for a centre-half. We had the Gahey stuff, but it's gone really quiet. There's not been a reliable update on that in months that I've seen. I know obviously the tragic passing of Diogo Jota sort of closely followed that news, so it will have gone quiet, but I would still have expected an update by now from somebody. So I don't know if we've walked away from that, or we're waiting for them to drop the price, or what the crack is. But the only other real strong link has been the Italian fella, Leone.
He looks class.
And it looks like everyone's after him as well, so I'm not sure how likely that is. We definitely need at least another one there, probably another 2, I would say, if it was Gahey and Leone, as in you've got your sure bet for now, and then you've Leone coming in as the sort of Gerald Quansah, and that's your project, I'd say that would be okay. But I don't think it can be Leone, as the one. And I do worry, and I've seen a couple of people. I've made this point before, and a couple of people have said I'm sort of, my mindset is stuck in the past, and Liverpool are a different club now in the transfer market, and we're not the same. We don't adopt the same strategy as we did years ago, where we left ourselves short. I wouldn't be so sure. I think it's very encouraging, the money that we've spent. It's very encouraging, the players that we're after. Wirtz is world class. If Isak comes in, he's world class. But it wouldn't surprise me if they do go one lighter in attack. For example, you're right to say that if Cody Gakpo gets injured, it's not a case of Rio Nguemo is starting every game for 2 months. We have options there. But simultaneously, it would not surprise me if we go into the season, even if we buy one, even if we get a Gahey, that Gravenberch is seen as your fifth choice centre half.
I think he said that today, didn't he?
And I think people are expecting, because the transfer window's been so encouraging so far, and the money that we've spent and the ambition that we're showing, I think everyone's just expecting us to get 12 players in and have 2 players in every single position for every possible eventuality. I think they might leave themselves a little bit short at centre half in favour of getting the world-class player in Isak over the line. But I hope I'm wrong. That's not what I would do, for the record. That's not, me. I'm just, I guess, stung by previous transfer windows where we've done this. I'm still got PTSD from the COVID season, with 1,001 centre halves playing there through the season. So yeah, let's say about that. But the good thing is, obviously, fewer injuries under Arne Slot. The training doesn't seem to be quite as intense, and maybe a little bit more sports science involved. And Kanate seems to have benefited from that. So if we can keep him fit all season, like we pretty much do last season, bar a period in March, is it? Then I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think they will sign a centre back at some point. It's just that they got, as it stands, they haven't got one in just yet. So you do have to be very careful with Van Dijk and Kanate. And it might be that we see a bit of Endo at centre back at some point at the weekend, or like I say, Gravenberch, who isn't going to be in midfield for Bournemouth, maybe he gets put back there a little bit as well. And you do look after Kanate. Van Dijk was ill. Maybe you don't want to give him the full 90. It's something that it's worth mentioning. Like I say, the result is important. You'd like to win, but I think Liverpool's main priority will be getting themselves ready for Bournemouth. So I'm going to pick a team. You disagree on the goalie, but it's fine. No problem. Alisson, it's going to be Kerkez at left back. I think he's now the first choice, obviously. Van Dijk, Kanate, it's going to be Frimpong, I would think, at right back, given where we're at with Bradley. And Wirtz plays and Szoboszlai plays. It'll be Salah, Gakpo and Ekitike. It's that midfield role of one of Gravenberch or McAllister is what we think it's going to be. It's a pretty good team. That's a good team. If that team plays against Bournemouth on the first day of the season, that's a Premier League winning. What
a problem to have, man.
It's a Premier League winning team. There's a few issues in the squad, I think, and again, we'll see where we're at in due course. There's still loads of transfer news rumbling through. Yeah. Players going to leave, players going to come in and stuff like that, but it feels like a very strong 11 that Liverpool are going to process the weekend.
Mate, it needs to be. I think we're not, as much as people rip the Community Shield and say, look, it's not a big thing. When we beat United in 01, that was massive. We beat Chelsea in 2006, like Mourinho's Chelsea, that was huge. Won it in 2022, and no one can sit there and say, watching that Darwin Núñez game, didn't get excited. It's got a place in history, it's important. And I think if we're going to go into this season with the intention of defending the Premier League title, of going for the Champions League, you've got to start off how you mean to go on. And there's so many people, I think someone put a stat up, something like only 26% of people who have won the Community Shield have gone on to win the league. Records are meant to be broke. Let's win this, get a good start, and then push on to Bournemouth. Let's set the tempo for how we want the season to go, because we've got the players now. We've got the depth and the belief that we can do it. Why not? The
Bournemouth thing is interesting, Andy. The fact that it's Friday as well. Like usually in the Community Shield, Saturday, Sunday, you'll have a week to prepare for your season. Liverpool are going to have 5 days, for 4 full days to prepare for that Bournemouth game. That definitely plays a part in this as well. Like, it is different. If it's towards 70 minutes, Arne Slot, look, you get with his 6 subs, he is going to be looking towards Bournemouth more than this, I think, because those 2 days, it is massive.
And then another 10 days until Newcastle, because that's as late at fixtures you can possibly have the next week. It's the Monday. And then I think Arsenal reverts back to the Sunday, and then we're maybe back to a little bit of a more normal schedule. But you're right. If we were planning pre-season friendlies over these next 2 weeks, there's no way we'd have a 5-day break and then a 10-day break. It's just the way the cookies crumbled on this occasion, and we have to roll with the punches. But I would say the plan will be, with all due respect to Palace, that front four is a scarily good front four, and I think Arne Slot, and I could see a situation in which we're 2 or 3-0 up on 60, and at that point you do bring Wirtz off for Curtis Jones. You maybe do take Ekitike out of the firing line, and stick somebody else up front, and that's where maybe Ngumoa gets his minutes. So I think that will be the plan, to get this one inside 60 minutes. That's obviously no disrespect to Palace. They are more than capable of causing us problems. There's a world in which it's 2-0 to them in 60, and all of a sudden maybe we're giving lads a little bit more time than what we would have hoped or what we would have expected. But as much as I do think it's important, and the Charity Shield, it's one of those where it feels like managers who have only won the Charity Shield in a season, they're referencing it as trophies. Mourinho had the Man United team holding up the 3 fingers after they won the Europa League, including the Charity Shield. Pep Guardiola said last year only, was it 4 teams won a trophy in England last year? Us, Newcastle, Palace and Liverpool.
Arteta as well.
Arteta as well, claiming 3 trophies. So I do think that there's a little bit of ego and sort of saving face there, but it is more than just a friendly. That said, if it's 1 or 2-0 to Palace on 60, and they're looking at Wirtz and he's maybe flagging a little bit, or they're looking at Ekitike and they don't necessarily want to give him 90 minutes, I'm sure Arne Slot will just pull them off and cut his nose off despite his face, because Bournemouth's more important.
Si's got a comment here. Red Si says, "Yeah, it's a trophy if you win and a friendly if you lose."
Literally, Spot on.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where we're at this moment in time as well.
It is interesting. It's goals scored in the Charity Shield don't count towards any records.
No, it's weird.
They're
But then like
the appearances do, though.
Is
they
that
count.
right?
It's weird. They count as like. Yeah, it's in the season they don't really count.
I count it.
I remember it was Minamino scored his first goal for Liverpool against Arsenal in the Charity Shield in COVID, but then that didn't officially register, so he had to wait for his first goal.
Was that the Brewster one where he missed the
Yeah.
penalty?
Yeah. He's had a few of these penalties. We got beat on penalties. I remember
City at Wembley,
Genie missed. I remember that one well as well. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked.
Friendlies.
Wouldn't be shocked if it goes to penalties. Yeah, we lose on penalties, step over friendly. Do you think they'll win?
Oh yeah. 100. If I turned up now and went, nah,
you can't win this one.
Palace are going to spank us. No, I think we'll win. I don't think teams are. I mean, we've seen pre-season how well that link up is, particularly on the right hand side. I can't wait. I'm just excited that we're playing someone who isn't a City or an Arsenal or like a United. It's Palace. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is massive. I'm just excited.
Cool. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to win. A couple of goals. I think you see that front four on Monday night, and some of the interplay is just sumptuous. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that, and I don't think Palace will be the first team not to be able to live with us this season.
See, I don't know how many fans of other teams watch the Community Shield. I couldn't claim to know that. It's not something I would sit and watch last year's fan. I mean, I didn't even know it was in it. I can't remember. Was it
City beat United on pens.
Oh,
I only saw that because I read it the other day.
Yeah. I thought it was Arsenal. That was the year before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was because league winners and FA Cup winners. Didn't even know, but I wouldn't be shocked if there's a Florian Wirtz announcement party at this weekend, because again, he's unbelievable. Every time he kicks the ball for us, I'm like, wow, he's just done everything brilliantly. And I wonder if other people are watching, and maybe Bournemouth on Friday night's another one where it's a standalone game where people are like, oh my god, this like the business. I wouldn't be surprised if Wirtz in that 10 role turns on a little bit. Just
reminds me of Coutinho so much. I know that's a bit of an easy comparison, but just the way the ball's glued to his feet, his technique on the ball. There was one pass, sorry to ramble, but where he's putting it through to Ekitike, and the defenders do switch off because it's offside, but it just the curl on it and the position of it and the placement.
There's a bit of link up between him and Salah that looked tasty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At times. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Ekitike up front as well. So that's how I'm going to finish it before we spoke about what are you most looking forward to. And we both think Liverpool are going to win. We both between us named the team, but anyone else in particular that you're really looking? I'll come to you first, Andy. Anyone you're particularly looking to see?
I think Wirtz is the obvious one. We're just looking forward to the next game he plays because he is such a joy to watch, and I do think maybe some of his performances in pre-season have been slightly exaggerated. I certainly don't think we've seen the best of him yet. No. We've seen moments of class, but I think he's just getting going, and I think we're going to see some serious performance at the start of the season. So that's the obvious one. The other one is Ekitike. I've been impressed in the flashes that I've seen.
I don't know if anyone said this on the channel, because I must admit I've been travelling a little bit into all the content. Wasn't it great when he held his run and didn't go offside, and then we scored, and I was like, where's this been? Strikers who do that? It was unbelievable. that little, his pace is right. I didn't know he was that quick. I'll be honest, I've had my doubts about signing him. I was a bit like, okay, I get it, but he's a bit raw. But that when he held his running and showed that burst of pace, I was all in. I was like, give me a striker who can do that, please.
I think that just the size of him and his frame as well is going to be so key in the Premier League. He's going to get his first big test of that on Sunday in 2 physical centre halves in Guéhi and Lacroix. But I really enjoy it. I think it's the first goal he sets up for Salah, where the ball's threaded through to him and he uses his body perfectly and says to the defender, either you foul me and that's a penalty, or you let me get my cross into the box. And for strikers like that who are physical and who are tall, sometimes it can look a little bit clunky. I mean, my God, we've seen that over the last 3 years. But he looks so elegant doing it. And for me, he's a joy to watch as well. And yeah, my prediction is that he's going to get his first goal. Well, time's not going to be recorded, but for Lewis, it'll be his first goal. I think he'll score on Sunday.
Anyone else?
You know what? Might be a bit of a boring answer. I'm excited to see Kirkes because I want to see how he handles Munoz, because that's going to be a really good battle down that left-hand side. A lot of pace going forward, 2 energetic fullbacks. It's going to be a real test for him to see how he adapts to someone as aggressive as Munoz from Palace.
Absolutely, it's going to be fascinating. Looking forward to the game already. We will have a watch along here in the studio as well. Me and Errol will be live from 20 to 2. Kick-off is 3 p.m. on Sunday. We'll be live at 20 to 2, so do come and check it out. Thanks to Lewis, thanks to Andy, thanks to you guys for watching or listening. Do click on that link in the description. Go and visit oosh.co.uk. Get yourself in the draw to win either a free car or £50,000, which is absolutely ridiculous. The biggest competition we've done by a million miles. And yet we'll see you all on Sunday for the Community Shield watch along. Take care.